On Something to Talk About, Leone Rohr, the Executive Director of Parents Empowering Parents. She tells us a compelling, in-your-face story about autism and how she, her family, and a group of mothers got together to empower parents. That's ahead on Something to Talk About. Welcome to Something to Talk About. Like we are at Ruby Tuesday, a special edition of the show today. I would like to introduce to you Leone Rohr. She is the executive director of a group called Parents Empowering Parents.
Yes.
And I have been trying to get this woman. I don't know. She's a busy one for sure. I have pretty much interviewed everybody else in your family except for you, so I'm so happy to finally get an opportunity to sit down with you.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations on PEP, PEP. Is that what you usually call it, PEP?
PEP.
How did PEP or PEP start?
Well, 7 moms that have, 6 of us have children with disabilities, and we really feel that things need to be different, and we started 3 years ago. And we're on our 3rd year, and things have come a long way.
Yeah.
And we are here for parents, parents who have children with disabilities, youth with disabilities, and professionals. Anyone who has anything to do with children with disabilities, we do work with them. We do training. We do advocacy, so one-on-one advocacy, just like I'm sitting here with you now. I sit with parents who have a child with a disability or who think that their child might have a disability, and we do support activities. We have a parent potluck that we're hosting, and it's just a time for the parents to come in and have somebody to talk to, sit around, chit-chat, get a little therapy going there, get the stories out, and we swap stories, and we give each other tips and things that we can use to work with our kids. We do all disabilities, so we cover the whole realm.
How did you guys find each other out, though? Because it seems like there's a larger problem than there are 7 women who are trying to figure it out.
Yes, that's a good one. The 7 women, myself, and when I think of it, they're all friends. We're all ladies that I knew and knew from different things, and there were different conversations that came up. So myself, for me, I tell people this all started when my 2nd son with autism was diagnosed. I have 2 with autism. Yeah, we do. Yes, we have 2. And it's that 2nd one that did it. The 2nd one that made me a different person.
Why? What happened with the first one?
Well, the first one, you deal. You jump up and you jump in there, and you deal. But
did you learn about autism because your son was autistic?
Yes.
Okay, so you had no knowledge of the condition or anything? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And that's the norm. Yeah. Until disabilities come and knocks on your door, we usually don't have a clue. We're living our lives, we're going along, and sometimes we don't even realize. I mean, I'll speak for myself. You don't even see or understand or think about it until it comes to your door.
When it came to your door the first time, and I'm going to use just the first time as an example because that's when most parents, like you said, will study it. When it came knocking at your door, when it came to your door, at what stage how old was your child?
He was at 3. So the 2 kids manifested their autism differently. So that's autism too, it's different. So he seemed normal, everything was going along. Then at 3, he shut down. And the only, I call it the saving grace, was because we had some friends who had just gone through that, and they were just telling us, I mean, literally, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is what they were just telling us about, that their kid was going along, so everything seemed normal, then all of a sudden, they just shut down. They stopped talking for years.
Like a day? Like a day you noticed, or a period of time?
It seems like it's a day. It literally happens like that. So this was a child that was acting healthy and normal and babbling and talking and all this, and then he just stopped talking. And became antisocial, would not look at you. All the little traits, his communication, his cognitive, all these things, socialization. And for many years, I want to say he pretty much shut down for, gosh, maybe 6-7 years of just, we just had to switch gears. We had to figure out how to get him to communicate, how to understand him, how to know what he wanted. So that's where the road started. That it started there.
And you had other children who were also well older than him, right? Yeah.
And I tell families and parents, I says, for me, I think the saving grace for us as a family was that I literally went into, okay, everybody, I mean, I had a meeting. Everybody sit down. We have to figure out how he's going to have a life of dignity, because he's a person, just like the rest of us. And it's our responsibility as a family to figure out how to make him and his life work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It became a group activity, you know?
Yeah.
And,
did it become a bubble of sorts? Did it become a bubble of the Roars, just sort of concentrating on this one particular
I don't think it was a bubble in the sense that it became... to me, I look at my kids, and even now, my kids are so proactive and busy out there in the with children and disabilities, and they have a heart and a vision for, you know, that just is amazing. And I believe it came from that attitude of, hey, all of us are going to do what it takes. And it wasn't, this is your responsibility, children. It was, this is how I feel that's the best way for us to figure out how to handle this.
And that makes a really big difference, doesn't it, in the family dynamic when it's an attitude that...
Yes, it has to be.
And it had to have come from you.
I believe that attitude and that way of thinking, because I deal with a lot of families, I get a lot of phone calls, I sit down with a lot of families, and it is hard. It is, no, I'm not making this, it is very hard.
You mean
to find out you have a child with a disability. So you have a lot of adjustments to make, and the whole family has to make these adjustments. And depending on how you handle it, and who's gonna, you know, how the parents, even the parents have to accept it. That's the hard part. You know, they say we go through the stages of grief.
Yeah.
Okay, so you find out, so the child that you were planning to be perfect and normal and everything, you know, I mean, when you're expecting, you don't go around thinking something, of course, you're gonna have 5 fingers. And then you get you have to consciously make this shift, and you have to go through those stages that the child that you were expecting has passed on is not, and you have to accept, believe, and love, and take in the child that you have. And some people still going through that, or they have a hard time going through that, or they don't get to that point, or even they're still in the acceptance stage. So the key, it is hard, and it takes a lot.
What was the time frame from when you first made the discovery to you saw him sort of responding to your method of care?
I think that it was a constant and gradual, and even now, he's now 18. So it's a gradual thing where you're working at things, each different issues come up, different behaviors come up, and then you work on that. And then you read, and you learn, and you work on that.
Does that behaviors change as he becomes developed into a more mature person?
It depends on the child, and it depends on disability. So for us as the family members, our job was to learn and keep up, right? To learn and figure out, find solutions, find ways to help the child to understand them.
So you were just responding to his behaviors.
We were trying to get out in front of it. If you learn, you have to learn about the disability. See, that's key number one. You do need to get educated about the child's disability, because all our kids are different. So you have to learn about the disability, then you have to look at your child, and then you have to figure out what to do, and what services, what help, what strategies that you need to use to help that child. If the end goal is a life of dignity, that person is a human being, and we need to do what we need to do to give them a life, And what do we need to do along the way? That's the work.
So you had a plan. I mean, you had to have put together, had to formulate a plan.
Little bit by little bit, and all the kids helped. I mean, everything from my daughters going on the internet and, you know, copying pictures, and we had them on the fridge and the cabinet doors so he could tell us what he wanted, and we all would agree on how we would handle things. Okay, so when he wants something to eat, we don't just give it to him. We have him say, you know, we say, may I have juice, please? Even if he pointed at the juice picture.
You wanted him to be able to
communicate, yeah. And maybe he never would have gotten back to that point. Yes, he's you know, he talks and everything, but we didn't know that at the time. And like you said, what was the process? It was a process. I remember very clearly he would, you know, they fixate on things. So he would, as a little one, he would take these encyclopedias. I had really good picture encyclopedias, and he would just sit and look at these. Well, at the time, I didn't know autistic. They memorize these things, you know. They actually soak it in. Yeah, man. So we were out on a Saturday, like planting, digging it, and he comes out. I remember him, little tiny guy with this big old encyclopedia. He sits right on the step next to us, and he opens the book, this 500-page thick book, and the page he opens to was the bug that was in the dirt. That was a revelation for me. Those little things.
Wow, that must have been something.
Yeah, because then I knew that his brain worked. I knew he was getting it. I knew he was taking things in that I was teaching, and that is a relief.
Well, that was your first son, and you said that you had a second one. We're going to take a really quick. We got to hack into this, because if you can see what it looks like, it's some pretty good eats that we're having here. We're going to continue our conversation with Leone Rohr. She is the executive director of Parents Empowering Parents. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Ruby Tuesday. As you see, we have started eating. This is some great stuff, the Cajun pasta, of course. And then there's a piece of, I think it's a New York strip that's really good. Yeah. And then the spaghetti squash. You get some of that?
Yes,
that's
I
good.
did.
We're with Leone Rohr. She's the executive director of PEP, which is Parents Empowering Parents. And before the break, we were talking about her experiences raising two autistic sons, one who is currently 18.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to pick up the story on the second time you found out with your second son.
Yeah.
How later into the first one did you
Well,
get that?
let's see, 18, so 8 years apart, and that was a defining factor. When I got to the second one, I didn't want to hear the A word. I mean, you know, as a parent, you know something's up. You have that feeling in the back of your neck.
How old was he?
I finally broke down and went in and had him tested just before 3.
Okay.
So early intervention, what they call early intervention, is 0 to 3, right?
Yeah.
So in my heart, I knew that I needed to jump in there. But like I was talking to you before, it's one thing to know what you need to know it, but it's another thing to admit it, right?
Sure.
So I had really good friends who kept saying, "Hey, Leone, have you had William tested?" Because he didn't speak a word, wasn't just not talking. So I knew I had to do something. I knew I had to have him tested, but oh my goodness, I tested his hearing, I tried his tongue, I just had to be something else, right?
Yeah,
I can't do this twice.
It was a denial thing?
Yes, it's very hard. And so I finally, just before he was going to be 3, went to one of those child find. They're called child find, it was at Tamunni Elementary, where the Department of Education there, you know, this is part of the law, I guess, that they have to do what's called child find, which is to figure in the community, do these outreaches to, if you see a child, and even in the school, if there's a kid in a classroom, a teacher have to see something developmentally isn't happening.
Anybody in the school?
Yes, they're supposed to help the parent by saying, hey, you know, have you had your child tested? Have I assessed? Is what it's called. So I finally did break down and go to one of those child find. It was like a Saturday, you know, and I go in there, and sure enough, I go when I get to the autism section, and so they did. They said, Mrs. Rohr, you know, William is showing signs of autism, and we need to schedule another appointment with you. Oh boy, and I knew it. I didn't want to hear it, but I knew it, and so I did. That started the process, and so then you go in and you have the full evaluation done, and then you go to what's called an eligibility meeting with DOE. So that eligibility meeting is where they come in, the psych and all the different all the different evaluations they did. They read that to you. So
So it's these cold hard facts. Is what you're hearing.
So you get this rundown of all, and all I heard was, William won't do this, he won't do that, he can't do this, he can't do that, he didn't do this, and it was just, it was too much. And I tell people that was the day that PEP started in here, because that was the day that I felt that no mom should have to go through that. And I tell people, one, I went alone. Don't ever do that. Don't ever go by yourself. It is too much. It's too hard to sit in a room, and it was just me with everybody else, and I didn't do well. I fell apart in this meeting with all these people, and I felt like I just wanted to crumble into the floor. And I felt like, you know, those cement trucks where they have the big roller and they dump out this. I felt like they were just dumping cement, just suffocating me. And then I got mad. I got mad because I felt that no one has the right to tell me that what my child can or cannot do. No one has the right to put that blanket over someone, put someone in a box. So inside of me, I believe that decision was made right there, that nobody should have to go through this. It's not okay. I know they're doing their job, but there's ways to handle these things.
Have some kind of sensitivity.
And as a parent, it's hard to hear this. I mean, look at me. I already knew about autism. I already had one son that we were working with, and all the kids, the whole family, all of us, husband, everybody, we were all in there. And even for me to have a second one, and I just could not open myself to that.
How was your attitude when you presented it the second time to your family, when you talked to the kids, presented it then?
I think I can't remember that conversation like I remember the first one, but definitely it was, guys, here we are again, and we got to do this. And William was not speaking. He was nonverbal for 7 years. He spoke on his 7th birthday. So you can imagine, I mean, you know, until you have a child that's nonverbal, that doesn't say mom, dad, it is unreal. So we went into let's get on top of this thing mode. My daughter, like I said, my kids were older by then, so printing out pictures, looking stuff up. We would have these sessions at the dining room table of, okay, let's look up behaviors. Okay, what do we do for this? I mean, we were all in it.
Was he as receptive? Was William as receptive as your son before? Or was it a completely different
form of, the autism shows up differently.
Interesting.
Which is the thing with autism. You cannot put that in a box.
Yeah.
You have to look at that child, and not just autism, all disabilities, okay? I know everybody talks about autism, but we have a lot going on out there. We have a lot going on.
And that's why I'm saying, it's such a larger issue that seven
Yes.
people
Yes.
trying to do this for an entire island is a lot. How? I mean, I heard you saying something about working out of the trunk of your car.
Oh yeah,
but-
in the beginning, that's what we did. We just made a commitment as moms, as just a group of moms coming together. You know, it's like these are all just we had to do this, and yeah, we were running around paying for stuff out of our pocket, printing stuff ourselves. But we started that nonprofit with the ultimate vision and goal that we would build a disability center on Guam, because parents need somebody to talk to immediately. As soon as you find out, you need someone to call. You need someone to talk to. You need someone to go to those meetings with you. That's called an advocate. You need to learn all the paperwork, the laws, IDEA laws, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. You don't know these things.
Yeah, yeah.
You need to learn about the disability. You need to learn about the school system, educating a child with a disability. It's a whole new world.
Have you seen parents go through the process empowered by this information and support in a record or at a pace faster than when you first found out? Or is it emotionally it's difficult to compare?
Emotionally, it's difficult, but again, some of us, we all deal with our pain differently, right? The way I dealt with my pain was to get educated, was to fight back. And my way of fighting back was I need to learn about this. I need to stand up for my kid. I need to be able to learn it, because I didn't know if he would ever speak. I didn't know where he would. You have to believe. So my way of fighting back was that vision that my child would have a life of dignity.
But do you know of parents that are so much in denial that right now they're not empowering themselves?
It's
with
hard,
education?
yes. That's where
try
we
to
come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we train, we do support activities, but also you can have all the knowledge you want, but until we get the courage to apply that knowledge for our children, that's when it becomes powerful. You can have knowledge, you can read all the books you want, but it's when you get in here, it's when you get Nobody makes those decisions for my child. Nobody is going to tell me what he cannot do. If I had just listened to what was being read off of those papers, I would not have the same child that I have today.
Amazing. So how do you get your money?
I do 5Ks.
Speaking of,
I have a 5K coming up.
Okay.
PEP was given a small contract out of Hawaii Pacific Training Information Center last year, which is up on September 30, so I'm on my last 30 days.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, I'm a mom, so I can stretch $1.
Yeah.
We're just out there. So I have another 5K, and I'm out there in the community. I Take Care Foundation. We did write for a grant for them for our conference that we did in April, and they gave us money for that, and we did that conference. So we don't only train the parents, but we're also training professionals, all the teachers and stuff. And I tell you, last year,
that's a good start,
with our series of training last year, we focused on emotional and behavioral disabilities. We had more professionals come to our training than our parent numbers.
Wow. That's good.
Which is a good sign,
yeah.
because they know that, we, at first, they didn't know what they want to do with us. Oh yeah, those guys come in and make it, but they see that we are there to make things better. Because until we do that, we have nothing.
Tell people where to find you. Facebook for sure.
Yes, we are on Facebook, Pep Talk Disabilities, and we have a website, peptalkdisabilities.com.
Okay.
And we are out there in the community doing outreach. Our number is 685-PEP1. We do training, advocacy, and support for parents of children with disabilities, youth with disabilities, and professionals who handle anything to do with our children with disabilities. And we are a nonprofit group, 501c3, and we are community-based. You don't have to have a child with a disability. When we do our summer camps, it's inclusive. We have a program called SIB Shops, which is a sibling workshop. Everything we do is about integrated into the community. So it's not just for disabilities. So if you have a heart for disabilities, please come and help me.
Come and help her.
7371.
You could stop her on the street because she's got a very unique look anyway. Thank you, sis. I appreciate
Thank you.
it. Thank you very
Thank you very
much.
much.
That'll do it for us on Something to Talk About. We'll see you next time.